This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
A very good evening to everyone. I hope you're all right and sitting back and enjoying what was a fantastic Derby Day victory over West Brom at the weekend. We've got so much to talk about, haven't we? It's a fixture that we've waited for so long, and there's already over 100 of you tuning in live. So please, thank you for tuning in. Obviously, we've gone with a Monday night because it was such a lot to get through yesterday. And so we're really grateful for you all joining us, whether you're watching us live on YouTube, listening to it back on the catch-up, or listening to it back on the Always Wolves podcast. We have got 6 Wolves fans and pundits joining us tonight to chew the fat. And we do hope that you in the chat can join in with your opinions and thoughts as well. And I do want to say, before we get started, of course, I want to say an absolutely massive thank you once again to the wonderful people over at Creation Wolf for powering extra time. It's much appreciated that they support the channel. I know they're helping now a couple of local companies and who run Wolves fans, companies that actually Wolves fans that are running companies with their digital solution as well. So it's great to see that they're also helping in the Wolves community and the Wolves business community out there as well. Right, we're going to get stuck in. We're going to talk about so much. But first of all, the first I can tell you tonight on the panel, we have Suti. We have the Lord himself. He's finally back, Mr. Jason Guy. We've got Kashmir joining us after a bit of a sabbatical. We've got the voice of reason, who's got a bit of a cold, Jack. We've got Lucas, and we've also got Chelsea, by popular demand, making a return appearance. But the first half of the show tonight, we do have the Lord himself. Good evening.
Dave, how are you, my friend?
I'm all right, mate. Listen, I was just saying backstage before we get on to this, you do a lot of fundraising, mate. You work damn hard. You put on a lot of events and you try and raise things for charities that are very close to you. Your young daughter, Lydia, has been really, really poorly in hospital. And, you know, we've all been feeling for her. And
Thank you.
She's at home now, isn't she? And
yeah,
how are you and the family holding up, and what's the prognosis for Lydia before we get started into anything else?
Yeah, look, she's doing really good. So as you know, she's got a genetic condition, and when she gets a bug, we can fight it. Her immune system is quite suppressed and can be quite low. So when she gets something, whereas our immune system fights it and it's gone within a few days, with Olivia, it can take a few weeks. And she was hospitalised, bless her. Then she went into an induced coma in Birmingham Children's Hospital while I was trying to get on top of it because she was too weak to fight it. But that's why we call her the Warrior Princess. She's so strong, and she was in hospital for nearly a month, and we had Christmas Day on ward A22 at New Cross. But do you know what? It's not what you do, Dave. It's who you're with. So we still had a lovely Christmas. Amy done Christmas dinner on the ward. Microwave pinged.
I saw that. That was lovely, mate.
Yeah. Olivia's better. That's the main thing. And thank you to everybody for their well wishes. Thank you, Dave, for your kind comments as well, because it really means a lot. And when you say about fundraising, I was quite lucky yesterday. I managed to raise 12 pence because I had a 10 pence through at me and a 2 pence.
Mate, fantastic. You always managed to put a smile on everything, mate. And we are so glad that Olivia's at home and well with you. We do wish her and yourself all the best.
Thank
and
you.
We will continue to support your what you do with your fundraising here on the channel, mate.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you got £12 off them lot down the 12p.
Dave, I wish it was 12. It was 12 pence.
12 pence off them lot down the road.
10 pence. See that one girl? See the picture of the one girl? She had 2 handfuls of cash. She had about 15
I know,
quid.
she did, mate. It was crazy. Right,
Brilliant.
Next up, joining the first half of the show today, we have the lovely Chelsea. How are you, mate?
Hello, everybody.
You okay, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Dave?
Fantastic. Now, you'd have watched the game on the box yesterday as well.
Yes. Yeah, it was
So
brilliant.
you'll have that suspect. Where did you watch yours, Jason? Was you there?
Yeah, of course I was. Yeah, I was there.
You were there. Yeah, I thought I saw that you were there. And Chelsea, you've become quite a little bit of a legend in your school, haven't you?
Legend, a bit of a strike. But no, it's been really nice for the kids to kind of watch it, and it's nice to see that you do something outside of school as well. And I think it kind of makes good relationships with them. And it's always a bit of a good joke when people ask you, were you on the video yesterday? And you go, yes, I was.
That's fantastic, mate. Well, that's absolutely brilliant. And it's great. And your school is, again?
Kingsmead School.
So hi to all the pupils at Kingsmead School. And joining us the first half of the show tonight, it is the voice of reason himself. We've still not got him that T-shirt, but it will come sometime this year for definite. And I know he'll wear it. Jack, you've got a bit of a cold. I saw you before the game yesterday. You wouldn't have missed that for the world, would you, mate?
No, and I felt absolutely fine yesterday. So I reckon it was all the excitement and nerves. It was just suppressing it. And I got home yesterday and it just hit me. And but yeah, it's really good to be there yesterday to witness, obviously, the ending of a hoodoo and everything. So one of those great days to be a Wolves fan, I suppose.
Absolutely, mate. And I mean, it was a great day to be there, and it was a great victory. And we will come on to talking about everything and stuff like that. There's loads of well wishes there for Olivia as well. Fantastic, and which is really nice to see. As I say, we've got the community here, and they're all behind you, and they're all saying hello to you guys as well. Now, the way we're going to do it tonight, guys, we've got two panels. Okay. And normally what we have been doing is we've done the quiz at the end of the first half and the quiz at the end of the second half. Today, we're not going to do that. We're doing the quiz at the end of the entire show. So hopefully we'll have some of you guys that will be able to stay back from the first half of the show and join in with the end. So we can do it all in one go at the end. I know that Jack, you've definitely got to run off because he's not very well. So we're going to start with you, Jack, on the game at the weekend. Talk us through your build up to the day itself, and how you were feeling throughout the game as it progressed.
Yeah, so I mean, we were kind of discussing this with a couple of my mates earlier. It's a really strange one because you look forward to the derby, but you can't enjoy it sometimes because there's that much nerves and tension, and you kind of, I just hope this doesn't go wrong. And you can't, so we kind of all, there's 12 of us went from my house. We all sort of parked there and jumped in taxis from Wednesbury to West Brom. Because I was telling you the other day when I live about a mile closer to the Molyneux. So
you can't see this, but me and Jack, obviously, I talked to all the guys on WhatsApp and everything, and Jack sent me a map of where his house is, and it's literally in the middle between the Hawthorns and Molyneux. It's crazy.
So I'm in sort of prime, sort of tribal, guttural Wolves West Brom territory, So it's been a nice build up actually. I mean, it's quite interesting. I don't know if obviously yourself and Jason and Chelsea felt the same, but the West Brom fans in the build up haven't been as chirpy as usual, and I think they kind of realised that this might be the one where we actually do them, because we are better than them. And I think ultimately we kind of showed that yesterday, didn't we? So, but yeah, no, we got there and obviously it was really early kickoff and, didn't quite have time to have a proper pre-match build up. And it was almost straight into it really, wasn't it? And then I thought the game itself, I thought we were comfortable. I thought it was a very similar game plan to Brighton, wasn't it? We'll sit and we'll defend fairly deep. We won't sort of commit loads of players forward. We'll let them have the ball in the middle and they can pass it around. They won't get near our box. Sarr won't have a lot to do because we'll defend the box really well, and we'll hit them on the break. And against Brighton, we created 2 or 3 good chances and missed them. Yesterday, we created 2 or 3 and we scored 2. And that was the difference, really, wasn't it? I feel like we had 2 or 3 gears to go up to if we needed to. Had they got a goal back or gone in front or something like that, or equalised at some point, we could have stepped up again. But I think what Gary O'Neill said pre-match was spot on. You've got to understand the derby tactically, but also emotionally. And I think actually we kind of mastered both of those sort of crafts, really. And that was what made the difference. We weren't dragged into a proper scrap on the pitch, and the players kept really calm. And that made a massive difference, because when they had those little spells, we were able to suck it up. And then, like you say, to them on the break, I thought the goals came at really good times as well, just to kind of really puncture the crowd and deflate them. And like I said, I thought it was a really comfortable, professional result. It's the kind of result when you watch the FA Cup and you see those Premier League teams go away to the Championship teams and win really comfortably. You go, why can't that be us? But yesterday it was us. And the fact that it was a local derby as well just makes it a little bit more special.
It made it really special. Now, Chelsea, I think you were watching. Where were you watching it? Were you watching it with the family at home?
Yeah, watching at home with the family. Yeah.
So, I mean, you've heard what Jack says. Obviously, we're, myself, Jack, and Jason, we're all watching it from within the fan base in the stands at various points in the Smethwick end. You had the opportunity to watch it live on the TV. It's still just as stressful, I would imagine. Talk me through how you felt the game started. What was your gut feeling with how it started? Could you get an idea of the atmosphere watching it on the box?
Absolutely. I think even the build-up, because the game began so early, the excitement of the whole day started from as soon as you woke up, whether that be 8 or 9 a.m. And even though we were watching it from home, you could feel how important it was to both clubs. You could feel the derby, even if you weren't there. And when the players walked out to the liquidator and they were both fighting over the chanting at the end, it was one of the best experiences just watching on TV. So I couldn't imagine what it was like being there, but you could feel the passion right there. But for how the game started, I think you can kind of look at it in two ways. One way is that Wolves were a bit lacklustre because of the time of the game. And I think they started a bit slower and West Brom were a bit faster. But on the other hand, now that I look back on reflection, I think it was Wolves choosing to be a bit more practical and take the emotion out the game a little bit, where West Brom were focusing on that passion and getting those tackles in. And I think in the long run, I think that served Wolves really well. And I agree, we scored our goals at the right time. And I think it was a very professional performance, because that game could have gone either way. It could have been a game of so many yellow cards, red cards, and it could have just been mayhem. But on the pitch, I think Wolves handled it like a Premier League side and treated it as they were the better team technically, and they deserved the win. And I was very proud of how they managed the game in the end, because they used the passion to their advantage, whereas West Brom were a bit more over the top, I'd say, at the start, which could have caused them some problems.
I'll tell you what, how you've described that has given me goosebumps, because that's really, really well summarised. Jason, what do you think of that? I mean, how Chelsea's put that across there?
Listen, Chelsea always speaks very well, and I echo Chelsea's comments with it all. I think it was quite in the stand yesterday. You could feel it. There was a bit of trepidation before kick-off, and then when we kicked off as well. And I think what helped yesterday, we know we've got a much better side than them. That's evident. Just league standings alone tells you that we're a league above, and we look that. But it's a derby, and all that goes out the window. And I think what helped was the fact that we had an English manager, and I think that perhaps was a bit more of a calming influence, especially on some of the players out there, for them that would have been their first derby, or certainly the first Black Country derby. But we had a job to do, and we did it. It was a bit of a free hit for West Brom days. If they beat us, it's obviously their cup final, isn't it? But even if we was to win 1-0, it was almost expected. So I think the pressure was more on Wolves than it was on West Brom. But it was a very professional performance from start to finish. Did we really come out of second gear? Probably not. Like Jack said, though, we had the opportunity to, where we could have if we wanted to, and switch things around. We didn't really need to. We did have strong enough players out there. West Brom didn't really trouble us too much, but we took our chances well, and it was a good win.
I think you're absolutely right. The one great thing about it as well for me, I mean, just going on what you guys said, I think we were going, me and Emma, we were driving to the game, and it was, waking up, and the night before, it was like Christmas Day almost. It was that bit of excitement when you're younger and stuff like that, because we haven't had one of these for ages. And it was building the whole time before the game, walking up. Funnily enough, we watched The Walking Dead. I don't know if any of you have watched that program. It's a good program, and sometimes they in The Walking Dead they cover themselves with entrails of the Walking Dead, and literally, and they walk amongst the zombies. And we were kind of like walking to the ground. You know, we got all our colours on, but we had our coats over the top. And I said to Emma, I said, it feels like we're walking, we're in The Walking Dead, like walking towards the ground. It, not being disrespectful to the Albion fan, it's just because we were in that load of them all around us, and we were kind of two people walking towards the Wolves end incognito. It was quite surreal, that was. And then when we got into the ground, all the Wolves fans were in there singing their songs and chanting, and then walking through into the Hawthorns and seeing the whole of the Smethwick end, you know, gold and black, and the stickers, and people hold it, you know, with the quite loads with the Sainsbury's bags and stuff. And then the build up with the music and the adrenaline that was going, it was such an anticipation. And then both teams came out. It was really electric, and it was great. The atmosphere was great. The banter was fantastic. The singing between the fans was brilliant, which is all of what you expect. And then I think, like what all of you have said, I thought that Wolves were very calm and they played the game rather than the occasion, probably a little bit better than Albion. Albion, you know, their team definitely played with a lot of heart. They played for their fans. They had a go at Wolves. They created a few overlaps down our left-hand side early doors, and got a few crosses in. There was a couple of headers, but Sarr was never really troubled at any point. And we kind of seemed to be sort of dealing with it. I actually thought that we wasn't as crisp in our passing as we had been in previous games, but Matt Doherty sometimes gets criticism from the Wolves fans and stuff like that, because he's like, you know, we got him back for pretty much nothing again. And his anticipation off that corner, how he read it, how he read it. For one, he read the danger, and this is why he started for me, because he is experienced in these type of big games. He read it, he jumped up in the air, he controlled it.
Yeah,
he took virtually 6 or 7 of the Albion team out of the equation with one move, and then played a perfectly weighted pass for Pedro to run onto. And then Pedro Neto does what Pedro Neto does. He's you know, to me, Pedro Neto is going to be a world-class, you know, 60, 70, 80 million pound player. And he cuts inside and finishes it well. And that was kind of the game, really. I'm talking to the Albion fan that I had from the Albion Analytics podcast. He was telling me before, I don't know if you watched it, but he was saying that Albion are very good at home. I think they've only lost 2 games all season at the Hawthorns, one of them against Leicester. And he says they tend to score a lot of their goals in the first 15 to 20 minutes at the Hawthorns. And when they go a goal up, they don't lose. But when they go a goal behind, he said they're not very good at chasing the game. And I think that's how it kind of panned out, Jack.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we said sort of before the game, the first goal is massive, because I think both teams would really like to be 1-0 up. Albion would like to be 1-0 up because then they can just sit back and try and just defend what they've got. We'd like to be 1-0 up because the pace we've got on the break, if we go 1-0 up against a team from the Championship, we're going to absolutely murder them on the break as the game goes on and their defence gets tired. So the first goal was always going to be massive. And I think that's why they started the way they did, because they thought our best chance is catching them cold, Wolves, that while they grow into the game. If we get them early and get 1-0 up, we can kind of dictate how the game goes. But it stayed 0-0. We defended fairly comfortably. And then we got the first goal. Neto, great time to score, sort of 10 minutes before half-time. Just punctures that crowd. Their belief was starting to go, you know. And then, like you say, you can control the game then, because they've got to start pushing out and be a bit more open. And you can then pick your times. You know, I thought Bellegarde particularly, very unsung, but did really well in kind of finding little bits of space and then being able to spring that break to Neto or Cunha or Semedo.
He put himself about as well, Bellegarde.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to my friend earlier on the phone about him. He looks very awkward because he's got a very strange running style, and he's quite sort of broad-shouldered, but he's quick and he's strong and he can sort of turn really sharply. I think he's a really good player, and I think we haven't seen the absolute best of him yet. I still think he's finding his feet in England and in English football. But I think he made a real positive impact. I was a bit worried when Sarabia wasn't playing because he was kind of the player I was hoping would make the difference, find a little 5-yard pass somewhere or play a little 1-2 off someone and completely cut out their defence. But I thought Bellegarde stepped in really, really well. And actually, I'm thinking back now, I can't think of a Wolves player who had a bad game.
No, I think they all put a solid effort in. I mean, from your point of view, I mean, the second goal, Chelsea, you know, again, Kilman got an assist. I think their defender, looking at match of the day and analysis last night, was looking the other way for a split second, and Kilman at that second hits the ball and Kuna gets in and he scores the goal, and then obviously he's celebrating, he's going, this house is mine, this is ours, with the badge, which I absolutely loved. And he had a chance just after that. It's the second time he got in, he actually hit it better, and the keeper made a really good save, tipped it round the post. But at 2-0, we were all saying, I was saying in the ground, we could need to get the second. I felt like it was game over the second that goal went in, the Kuna goal.
Absolutely. The second goal for me just killed the game because of how hard West Brom had to really come out after that, and that would have left them open. I think, again, we've said they scored at the right times, and how Cunha took the goal, his second attempt was actually better, but how he took the ball, he anticipated the pass and was able to control it and then pass it into the net. You should be really proud. And I think overall, Cunha, I've been so impressed like the whole Christmas period, even the Brighton game, you know, it was a game that was a game of tactics, but he really pushed the team forward. And I think Cunha's really stepped up as a leader for that front line. And you can rely on him to do that hard work, but also have that bit of quality that we need. And I think now with Wolves, a couple of years ago, they weren't scoring as many goals, but now with Cunha, with Hang when he's back, we've got some solid players there who are constantly putting in the performances that we need. And when Cunha scored that goal, you could sense all around the stadium, even at home, we were really comfortable. And when you could feel the Wolves fans, they were excited, but also you could feel the change in the West Brom attitude of the players, of the team, of the crowd. They knew it was going to be hard for them to come back, which and then eventually led to what was going to happen afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason, coming on to that, obviously, you know, we're going to lead on to obviously what happened after that. We have to talk about it. I mean, because you know, it's sad that we have to talk about it in this day and age. What happened, but like before we get to that, there was bottles being thrown, coins being thrown at players. I mean, Tommy Doyle at one point, he's down at the opposite, you know, on the right-hand side of where the Wolves fans are. He's about to take a corner. The bottles come over. I mean, Tommy Doyle is a bit feisty. He loves it, I think, in some ways. He's turning around and going the badge, you know, and stuff like that, not being intimidated. But, like, even, like, you saw the full bottles being thrown, and I'm not sure whether this is confirmed, but I heard that a ball boy got hit by one of the bottles as well, a young ball boy as well. And whether that's true or not, or whether that's just urban myth, I'm not sure. But Jason, just talk us through how that bubbled up to the game and, you know, your take on it from within the stadium.
Listen, I've been to quite a few derbies, fortunately or unfortunately, most of them. But so to go to West Brom, it's always an intimidating place to go. You know what you're going to get. I didn't really expect to see that level of violence yesterday. But listen, you know, the positives for me, let's talk about the football. The positives for me were, you know, it could have gone either way early doors, in as much of if West Brom score, we are really under pressure then. But I think as soon as that goal went in for Wolves, I think that the pressure was off almost, because I can't see West Brom coming back into it, at least scoring one and definitely not scoring two. And if you talk about the goal, Dave, don't forget that was a West Brom corner that we're defending. Whether it was a good corner or it wasn't a good corner, the way Doherty controlled that, took, as you said, 3 or 4 players out. Neto made the run. That goal was very similar as well to the one against Luton, going down the right, then cutting in onto his left foot. And it was a great finish. But he still had a lot of work to do. So if you think about it, when Doherty plays that ball, I think he might have been just inside our half or just inside their half. Still got a lot of work to do. He's wider out on the right. You know, the West Brom players were obviously chasing him down, and it was a great finish. But that's what we expect from Neto now. We've just got to make sure that obviously he remains fit. And the second goal, once again, Kilman, bearing in mind he's a left-footed centre half, found himself, you know, on the right-hand side, played that great ball over the top with his left foot. Great run by Cunha. Whether it was a good first touch by him or not so good touch, he started taking it quite wide, and the goalkeeper did well, to be fair, that he come out and narrowed the angle massively. But Cunha was a very, very composed finish, and it was a composed finish given the level of the game, a Black Country derby again, you know, and that was the exciting thing about the second half. We knew there was going to be kicking towards us as well, and obviously we was a goal up. We also kept a clean sheet, and I think that's so important to do. So there's so many positives and so much confidence to take from that game, and the fact that we didn't go gung-ho about it. There were some level, cool heads on the pitch. You look at Craig Dawson, obviously. He's played in derbies before. He's an ex-West Brom player. He had a bit of intimidation, or you know, Bartley tried to give him a bit of intimidation, but he controlled his emotions well. And I think it was a composed performance across the pitch, which, listen, I've seen these derbies get out of hand before, and I've seen Wolves lose their heads, and I've seen that affect then the performance on the pitch. But yesterday was a very professional, clinical performance. It wasn't a classic. You know, we didn't look like world beaters by any stretch, but it was job done for me. With regards to the violence, Dave, you know, it is really unfortunate to see. But let's bear in mind these are isolated incidents, and equally, it's not representative of the whole West Bromwich Albion or Wolves fan base.
Absolutely right.
There's idiots
Absolutely
in every
right.
fan base, but I know a load of great West Brom fans who don't condone violence. You know, who don't expect that sort of level of violence. It's not nice to see. Would I want to be taking my kids to a game like that? No, I wouldn't. Am I joining in with the banter and the rivalry after a few beers? Yes, I am. But it is a handful of idiots, and they sort of spoil it for everyone.
I think it was, to be fair, mate, I think, you know, it was a bit more than a handful.
Well, okay,
One thing I want to come back to, we'll come back to you in a second, because Michael Brown makes a very good point. He said, David, guess what was the cause of troubles at WBA? Because I'm hearing conflicting stories with WBA blaming Wolves supporters and eagerly occupying the seats for WBA support, West Brom supporters. Now, first off, it happens at a lot of grounds, you know, and there'll probably be Man United supporters that will be sitting in the home end at Wolves because someone will sell their tickets. But the responsibility of this ultimately comes down to the West Brom fans, season ticket holders that sold the tickets for whatever for money to Wolves fans. The Wolves fans that were in there shouldn't have been there. Let's face it, they shouldn't have been there. And if they were in there, they should have kept their mouths shut. Because if you're in the away section at any ground, and you've got I mean, I've watched some vlogs from the some really good Albion vlogs from Match Day, who basically the Albion fans talking about this. And there's another guy who's done a vlog, and he's like talking about how a Wolves fan's in the away end, and this guy isn't even a Wolves or an Albion fan. He's just a guy that goes to games and went to the game. It's like, well, how did you get a ticket? So, you know, they've cheered. There's one guy particularly from thinking that's cheered, that's gone up, and he shouldn't have done it. He should have kept his mouth shut. He's got carried away, whatever. But then you've got Albion fans that are running from every single stand in the ground over to get involved with it. So it wasn't a handful. It was tens, 20, 30. But the vast majority of West Brom fans are fantastic people. That, you know, the other half of my family are, you know, West Brom fans, season ticket holders. My niece Megan was traumatized by what happened. You know, she's a lovely girl. She's special needs as well, and she goes to the game and she enjoys the game. My nephew Harry was there, and it's just so sad for me that those, you know, the vast majority of the West Brom fans who enjoyed the banter, enjoyed the rivalry, are probably as horrified with what happened and really, really ashamed of the people that ran on the
memories, Dave. what happens on the pitch dictates everything that goes off it, right? So this is a 0-0 draw. That level of violence isn't happening. The fact that we're 2-0 up in their ground, that's obviously the catalyst to it. I'm not making excuses. I'm not excusing any Wolves fans' behaviour being in their stands, and I'm not excusing any West Brom fans' behaviour. But there's not 30,000 people getting involved. But I think, you know, I do think it's been taken out of proportion. Then you hear all these stories that Wolves fans spat at this and did that. And listening to Borrent, you've seen bottles fly over, you've seen coins fly over. What is that coin? It's a little kid. It's ridiculous. And what I will say is, and this is the God's honest truth, that I didn't see. Listen, we was all giving it the West Brom fans, of course we was. There was banter. I didn't see anything being thrown by any Wolves fans. I didn't see any Wolves trying to encroach on the pitch. I didn't see any Wolves fans lashing out at people, and that is the honest truth. Now, I'm not saying that as a Wolves fan, but equally, there's a lot of West Brom fans who did not go there for that, and it's a shame that their club gets tarnished for a few absolute mindless idiots who either can't control their alcohol or B, are absolute sore losers. But when they're throwing bottles at Tommy Doyle, he's a young lad, whether he's a young lad or not, it's just completely unacceptable, right? Because you know, there could be anything in them bottles. It could have been a glass bottle. Look what happened to Grealish in the Villa Birmingham derby that once when that player got on, that fan got on the pitch. Could have been a knife. Anything like that could have happened. So you've got to look at the security aspect of it as well, Dave.
Absolutely.
You know, was it managed properly? Was it underestimated? But equally, if there's you know, these Wolves fans are getting. I mean, look. These West Brom were clutching at straws in the end, and it was every fan, oh, you know, bring your mate along. Then it was like, oh, bring two of your mates along. So they didn't know who they was letting in that stadium in the end. Even so, what we saw was just abhorrent, and you can't condone it in any way, shape, or form.
And to be fair, Jack, I'm going to come to you next. Anyone that, you know, they've got CCTV cameras everywhere, they will know, be able to do facial recognition. I mean, there's been 6 arrests, and there's four Albion. I think there's a couple of Wolves fans that have got arrested as well. You know, times have changed with football now. There's lots of youngsters that go. You know, my dad's 86. He didn't go to that one. You know, my niece, who loves going to watch the Albion, is traumatized about it, and I hope she goes back. You know, because you know it should be intimidating, but it can't cross the line. And you know, the only way to stop it is that anyone that was caused any form of trouble, attacked a police officer, and you saw that, should be getting banned by their clubs. And that goes for any Wolves fan as well, particularly that was in there, that was, you know, giving it the large because they've incited it, and they shouldn't have been in there. And also the Albion season ticket holders that have sold them the tickets, I hope they can trace that, because it's so sad. I mean, Jack, you know, you're on the fans advisory board at Wolves. I'm sure it's something that will come up, and you know, it's something that every club can learn off. I mean, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to see it. And I was talking to a friend at work, and she's an Albion, and she's kind of at that end, and she had a 9-year-old daughter, and she was really upset by it. And she's kind of said to her mom today, I don't really want to go to the football again. And that's really sad. Albion or Wolves or whoever you support, you know, football is for everyone, isn't it? You know, and everyone should be able to go to the game of football, cheer for their team, enjoy it, and go home at the end and feel like you've had a nice day out. You shouldn't feel like you don't want to go again. So that's got to be stopped. I think the way it was policed and stewarded, I think there'll be questions being asked internally by those people, and particularly I think the way that the Wolves fans were treated in comparison to the home fans. You know, there was no alcohol in the away end, there was in the home end. The way
is that right?
Yeah, the way that it was organised with the travel. So any coaches had to go from Molineux with the police. So it was almost like the police expected if there was going to be trouble,
there were more down our end.
Yeah, it was the Wolves fans that were going to cause the trouble, whereas actually it kind of wasn't, was it? It was in the home end where it sort of all kicked off.
2 areas as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the other sort of point to make is that, you know, I've had in the North Bank where I am, I've had Liverpool, Man United fans, and you can sit, you know that they are. You clock them and you keep your eye on them. If you think actually they're not safe, or you just let the stewards and the police, it's their job to get those people out and whatever. Yeah. It's not the West Brom fans' job to give these people a good hiding or to throw them down the stairs, whatever it is. That's not their job. There's police and stewards that are there. If there's a Wolves fan in your end and you're not happy about it, you let the stewards and police know, and they'll do it. That's what they're there for. And I think if you watch the video back, there's already police and stewards trying to get this Wolves fan out, and then some Albion fan comes from behind and kicks him in the sort of the neck and the back, and that's where it all sort of kicks off from. So I think, you know, there's lessons to be learned for everyone, and certainly in terms of like the fan advisory board, like you say, I think going forward, I think we've got to kind of look at, particularly with the Black Country Derby and things like that, how we sort of make sure that everyone feels comfortable and feels safe, because there were people there yesterday that didn't feel comfortable and didn't feel safe, and that's just not on.
Absolutely. And like going back to Jason, it wasn't, and I think I've spoken to a couple of Albion fans, and they have actually said it's a credit to the Wolves fans in the Smethwick end. And I also had a message off one of the stewards as well, who basically sent me a bit of a message, which I'll read to you, but won't say who it is. Basically, he said, I saw a few people before the match willing to pay 300 quid for a ticket. Lots of families are divided. No, that's not the thing. The report, where is it? He said... right, the reporting was a bit overblown amidst all what was going on in one corner. There was a Wolves fan amongst Albion fans that decided to celebrate. This is from a steward, okay? So this, I won't say who it is, but they've messaged me. There was a Wolves fan among Albion fans that decided to celebrate when Wolves scored the second and was duly treated. In the opposition corner, there were Albion fans generally angry about being 2-0 down to the Dingles. Earlier, they've been throwing bottles. In fact, hitting a ball boy. This is where I've got the thing, and that's been from multiple sides. Hitting a ball boy at one point who needed treatment. At various points around the Hawthorns, there is open access to the field, which was an open invitation for some to charge and get stuck in. Where I was standing in the corner between the Wolves and Albion fans, we had plenty of police, lots of shouting, abuse and threats, but no actual violence. Where most of the aggro was happening was because of the open access. Some Albion fans from the Birmingham Road stand ran across the corner of the pitch, opportunity to join in and grab a few seconds of fame. So that's from a steward. But like, again, I will reiterate that as aside from the rivalry, the vast majority of Albion fans did stay in the stands. We would sing in Let's All Have a Disco, and the Wolves fans in the Smethwick end, they were saying that had the Wolves fans retaliated and gone onto the pitch, it would have been carnage, but they stayed in the stands.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you had the unique perspective of watching it on the TV. What was your take on all of it? Obviously, you weren't there, what you would have got.
When it happened, obviously the Cunha goal went in, and shortly after, all the game stopped. We didn't really know what was happening, and then the cameras switched to that corner, and we started to see things happening. To be perfectly honest, there wasn't really much communication for the first about 5 minutes or so. We saw what I believe was the Wolves fan being escorted out, with some minority of West Brom fans kind of giving him some back. But truly, as you're watching it, I do feel like the media, they were overarching it too much, because we don't condone violence of any kind, but majority of the West Brom fans and the Wolves fans were behaved the way they should have done. And it's a small minority of people who make that mistake. And as you said before, the CCTV is there and they will get caught and they should be banned for what they've done. And to hear that young lady went to the game and she feels like she doesn't want to go again, as much as we want to say it's a game of passion, it's also a place for families to go, and you want your new generation of West Brom Wolves fans. And you need to create it a safe place to be, especially because it was the family stand. Seeing the West Brom players grabbing children was not a nice sight to see. You could see the worry on the West Brom fans, and it shouldn't be happening. You can have passion and rivalry without violence, and it should be as easy as that. But sadly, the emotions can get the better of people. And as we said, all of you, it's the minority who made the wrong decision that day, but everyone else made the right one. And Wolves, when I was watching on TV, you could see that they were having a bit of banter, but they were respectful. They didn't incite anything else. And I think Wolves should be really proud of how the fans reacted. They did the right thing. They didn't escalate it, which they could have done. So I feel like on the TV, they dealt with it as quickly as they could have, and it could have been a lot worse. So I feel like it was a bit blown out of proportion. Those small amounts of people need to be treated for what they've done. They know what they've done is wrong, and they need to be adults about it and take responsibility for it. But it doesn't represent the fan base, and it doesn't represent the rivalry. and the game deserves to be remembered for the great atmosphere that it was, and not for those silly few.
Absolutely, and extremely well said. We will
Dave,
talk
I just want to make a very quick point. Sorry. Years ago, I went in the West Brom end when, I don't know if you remember, Jamie Smith got sent off, talking in the 90s. I think we lost 2-0. I can't remember really much details of the game, but couldn't get a ticket for love nor money in the Wolves end. There was loads of seats available in the West Brom. I think in the end they'd done pound the day or something. No, it wasn't pound the day. This was in the 90s, bear in mind, so it was a long time ago. I managed to get a ticket because I worked with someone who was a West Bromwich Albion season to get hold of that seat, and I managed to get a ticket. So anyway, I went in the West Brom end, but I kept my gob shut. To be honest, we had nothing to cheer about that night anyway, but I just kept my gob shut. Now, bearing in mind, the one video I seen of the Wolves fan in the West Brom end, the guy in the Whitestone Island top, they're playing the Liquidator, and he records himself, and he's going, F off West Brom, the Wolves, and in the Albion end. So I'm not condoning what happened to him, but if you're going to go in with that, moronic attitude, I'm not saying expect to get beat up, expect to get punched, expect any violence, but he's got a brain cell in his head, hasn't he? He knew what he was potentially walking into by just behaving that way. But once again, full credit to the Wolves fans who didn't retaliate, because that could have been really, really nasty.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head in respect to that, and we will talk a little bit more about this in the second half and get some more stuff on it. But gladly, I don't think anyone was seriously injured. I watched the report on Midlands today, and it talked to one of the chief police officer who basically said someone's made the point, how's there only 4 arrests? I think there'll be a lot more arrests coming once they've gone through the CCTV. Those are the only ones that they got on the day, but of course they've got all the CCTV, so they'll get back that. But the police officer said that the people that are arrested were all completely intoxicated at that time of day, and it's like, if you're completely out your head by 11:45, goodness me. Anyway, let's go on to Jason.
I was having Jaeger bombs at 10-9 yesterday morning, Dave. I mean, it didn't matter. They could have kicked that game off. So the police, in their wisdom, decided, or whoever made this decision, to kick it off at 11:45. They could have kicked it off, Dave, at 6 a.m. People were still going into that game tanked up. So whether it be 11:45, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever time that was kicking off, people were going to be getting hammered anyway. I had my first Jaeger bomb at 10-9 yesterday morning, and I felt really ill this morning. Sorry, Dave, carry on.
You do carry your drink quite well. You just get merry.
I'm a big unit.
You just get merry and hug people. You do. Right, Jason, performance rating, man of the match, highlight of the day.
Okay, so man of the match for me, I'm going to give to Tommy Doyle. Just thought he was impeccable throughout. Thought his range of passing. I thought his maturity. Yeah, he got involved in the banter with fans, but I just thought he was such a level-headed player. And mature beyond his years yesterday. Great performance. And bearing in mind, if you look at our midfield, is he really a nailed-on starter? No, he isn't. But like Doxy yesterday, when he does get picked, we know we can rely on him now. And he's giving Gary O'Neill a bit of a selection headache, which is a good thing.
Big time.
He really is. He's not a big part player. He hasn't come here to make up the numbers. He hasn't come here to be a squad player. He's come here to play in the first team. And believe me, he's more than worthy of it. So it's giving Gary O'Neill a bit of selection headache. So that's my man of the match. Performance rating, we've beat West Brom on their pitch in a derby, so he's 10 out of 10. Yeah, regardless of whether we win 1-0, 4-0, 3-0, 5-0, 10 out of 10 for me. Moment of the day was that they finally found the guy who is under the boiler outfit. And it was that long-haired Jimmy Savile lookalike wearing Joseph Technicolor dream coat that he's bought off Temu. We finally uncovered the boiler man. So that was my moment of the day.
I saw your post. That was so funny.
What was that woman doing coming on trying to nutmeg the steward? I mean,
funny thing about that woman, when she came on, she was so out of her head, paralytic. The steward was literally just holding her like that. There's no effort. He was just literally holding her.
Yeah,
Like,
but Dave,
oh.
I don't know if you've heard the latest. She signed a 3-year contract for West Brom today. So you know what? He dares wins, Rodney.
Mate, I saw one post as well. You know, the Jimmy Savile chappie that came on.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted, and it did make me laugh. It said, West Brom new owner unveils himself to the fans on the pitch. And I thought, that's just so funny.
Yeah, look, if we wanted to put a caricature picture of a West Brom fan that we'd want to go on the pitch and make national headlines, it would have been that man. So the fact that he went and done it for us, Freddie Boswell out of bread, was absolutely brilliant. So at least we know who's under the boiler mass now. So that was my moment of the day.
And I tell you what, guys, if you've not watched it, I have got a little short on the channel of him being arrested and being taken, but also on the vlog, I've got the picture of him coming up to the Wolves fans with his Albion scarf. But he's also pictured on some socials on Twitter, kicking off in the ground. So how did he get from there to the middle of to the centre circle? And he was literally on his own. There's no one around him for about 8 minutes.
It was a bit like Pedro Neto. He went unchallenged for about 50 yards before anybody got near him. So I don't know if it's the West Brom coach that are training the stewards as well.
Honestly, I don't know, but I guess he won't be going to the Albion anytime soon, unless he is the owner, in which case he might be able to get out of it. Jack, to you, same question: performance rating, man of the match, and your highlight of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get what Jason's saying about the 10 out of 10. I think if you were going to rate the footballing performance, you'd probably say 7.5. It was as good as it needed to be. We didn't have to play particularly well yesterday to win. We did exactly what we needed to. Kept enough in the tank for Man United and Chelsea coming up. So, yeah, it was a really solid professional performance. But like Jason says, I think going to there and winning, you can't give it less than a 10, can you? Man of the match, I was thinking of Tommy Doyle, but I'm going to go Max Kilman. Because we had a conversation 3-4 months ago. I think, Jason, you were involved as well. And we talked about whether Kilman's captain material. Is he too quiet? Is he? Yesterday, he was a leader on that pitch. And he absolutely led that team superbly. It was a big occasion, big atmosphere. And he stepped up and went, don't worry, lads. We're all right with me. I've got this. And that block he made on Jed Wallace.
It
echoed
was
around
right in line with it, because he kind of was going through and he was leathering that. And then Kilman came out of nowhere. You could hear it go boof as he blocked. It was a brilliant block. Yeah. Brilliant. It could have been a goal-saving block as well.
Yeah, and so he's my man of the match. And moment of the day, I think the Neto goal, because it completely sort of gave everyone that ease, and we just thought, you know what, we've got this now. We've weathered that little bit of a storm, and now we're going to take control. And also, it's the goal that Neto has been threatening to score for all season, hasn't he? He nearly did it at Brighton, didn't he, on Monday night? But obviously picked his moment, didn't he, at the arch rivals, to go and find that bottom corner. So, yeah, that was the moment of the day.
He did the thing. I think the last time they beat us, I don't know who it was, one of their players was doing that. He obviously had researched it because he did it back. Yeah. And he was just one thing that I do love about the players, is how proud they seem to be to wear the shirt with the badge. And, that's really coming across with this group. Pedro was there and he's like that. You got Kuna that's going with the badge. Tommy Doyle, who's not long joined. They seem to really be buying in as a team to the club, and they seem to be really proud to wear the shirt. And that's, as a fan, that's all you can ever ask. Win, lose or draw, you want them to fight and play and battle and never give in on the pitch and not be intimidated. And that's something that I'm very proud of.
And I think as well, I think a lot of people, including some of our own fans, had completely written us off this season. Relegation fodder, sold all their players, got no money, who's O'Neill, all this kind of stuff. And we were having conversations, but I think the players have kind of stepped up and gone, you know what, forget all that noise around the side. We've got some good players in our group, and we've got a coach that believes in us and wants us to do well. And we know what this badge means to those supporters that are in that away end there. We're going to give absolutely everything that we can. And we know that when we do that we're good enough to win these kind of games. You could see yesterday that there's so much belief in those players that they could win that game. Sometimes we go to the Hawthorns with good teams, but it's the occasion and it's the history. It kind of gets to the players and they kind of, do we really think we can win here? Yesterday, those players said, of course we can. Of course we can. And they went and did it.
Absolutely, mate. Very, very well said. And Chelsea, finally to you, your performance rating, man of the match and highlight of the day for you. Could be anything, could be eating the curry or whatever it is, doesn't matter.
Okay, so for rating, I completely agree with the boys. Actual quality of the game by Wolves, it's going to be a 7 or an 8, but sometimes it's not how you win, it's getting the result, and how they played the occasion and controlled the atmosphere as a team. They deserve a 10 out of 10. It could have been a very tricky game for Wolves. This was a game that Wolves had everything to lose and West Brom had everything to gain just by playing well, and Wolves played the occasion brilliantly. And to have waited, especially for me, because I'm still quite young, for it to be in probably my second game I think I've ever seen of an actual derby between them. It was amazing to watch and definitely a 10 out of 10. For my man of the match, a bit biased, but I was really impressed with Cunha. I think even from on Monday all the way to today, the way in which he leads that front line for me as a player, whenever he gets the ball, I can rely on him to create something, or I know he's going to do something with the ball. And how he took that goal, I was really impressed with how he placed it in the net and also his reaction afterwards. Before they came out, they showed the boys in the tunnel. You can see Cunha kind of smiling and joking around, looking at the pictures of the West Brom fans and like how they were dressed. And you could see that he was not afraid of the occasion. He was looking forward to it, and I think he carried himself very well. For my moment of the day, it has to be seeing you on TV with the Sainsbury's bag. It was just brilliant, and I literally, because it was live on
You
TV,
go on there, Dave.
I couldn't rewind it back, and I was like, I need to save this picture, but it was absolutely brilliant because I have a really lovely close friend who used to come to the pub that I used to work at, and I used to call him Mr. Tesco Bag, and just seeing that Sainsbury's bag just chickled me up.
I'll tell you what, that's the thing, but that's banter for you. And I'll put it out on Twitter. I've had some all sorts of bloody nasty stuff off some of the West Brom fans. It's rattled them. Jason's rattled them a couple of
quality of the bags.
All it is banter. And we had the pie and the pint and the Tesco carrier bags, and some of the West Brom fans have come on. I don't understand, why have you got a Sainsbury's bag? We've never called you a Sainsbury's bag. And it's like, how do you not get what it is? It's just a laugh and a banter because of the Tesco carrier bags you left. So we bought some Sainsbury's bags, and quite a few Wolves fans did. And I was like second row. So the telly must have caught me and just put me on the thing. But it's just banter. And that's where you go with it. Banter, get them on strings a little bit, but you don't go any further than that. What's happened. But like, some of them just don't get it. But like, I can't believe I got caught on the TV. So that's made me chuckle. Thanks, Chelsea. Finally, score prediction from all of you. Quick score prediction for Man United on Thursday night under the lights at Molineux. Jason, you go first.
1-0 Wolves.
Jack?
2-0 Wolves.
And Chelsea?
1-0 Wolves.
So that's a full house of clean sheets as well. Jason, have you got any fundraising coming up this year planned?
Got loads, Dave. So Neil Razor Ruddock, he's having a Wolves tattoo on February the 23rd, is it? 22nd or 23rd. So he's having a Wolves tattoo. He's promised me I'll have it done. And we put that appeal out on social media. And in 48 hours, Dave, it raised over £8,000.
This is for the garden, right, isn't it? For the garden.
Yeah, for the New Cross Garden Appeal, we've got to raise £25,000. We've done 8,000 in 48 hours. And it's all right, me being the figurehead and getting the credit for it. The credit needs to go out to the people that kindly donated. Manny knows exactly how the fundraising works, but it never, ever ceases to amaze me. And, it was trickling in at first, 5 or 10, and I'm humbled by anyone that puts £1. And then there was hundreds coming in and 50s, but it's not the amount, it's the fact that people are doing it, the people are sharing it, people are retweeting it. And like I said, it raised over £8,000 in 48 hours, which is mind-blowing.
What's your target?
£25,000. I'm sure we'll do it. I've been in talks with Wolves. They might be doing a lot of something to help the hospital, which is going to be absolutely amazing. And we've got a charity Valentine's disco on the 15th of February at Purton Park, the Bunker Sports Bar, Purton Park Golf Club. It's a tenner entry or free for kids, just a charity Valentine's disco. we've already sold about 40, 50 tickets. So the room only holds 80. So if you want to come and have a fun night, be a nice little disco, nice cheap night, the more the merrier. A few ex-Wolves players there as well. So that's on the 15th of February.
Fantastic. And Jason, we'll have to make sure that we do something around this tattoo. Are you and Razor having it done together, or is he doing it down where he is?
Well, no, he's coming to have it done at New Ink in Tetnall. So he's having, because he loves the song, oh, yeah, Wolverhampton, he loves that. So he's having a wolf's head in hi-ho on his arm, and he's already got a Millwall tattoo in his arm.
I hear that you're having a Millwall tattoo.
Well, this is the thing. So he's got a Spurs tattoo because he played for Spurs, the Liverpool tattoo because he played for Liverpool. So now he's having a Wolves tattoo because he supports Wolves now. But if it gets to £10,000, I'm having a Millwall tattoo, and we are going to get to £10,000. So I've booked in. So
you're having a Millwall tattoo. We'll have to do a little bit of coverage on that, mate. Get a bit of video, and maybe I'll pop down and do something.
If anybody does want to donate, I think it's my pinned tweet on my social media account. So listen, if you can, you can. If not, just please share it, and thank you for making a difference to the lives of others.
Fantastic. I look forward to supporting your events as well later on in the year, mate. And no doubt you'll get to your target. And thanks. Good to have you back, because I know you lost your voice for a while as well. And once again,
we're completely lost it. My wife loved it.
And once again, we're really glad that Olivia's home, mate. And that's the best news of all. Right, guys, thank you for the first half of the show. Thanks to Jack. Thanks to Chelsea. Thanks to Jason. Hopefully all or some or one at least will be staying along for the quiz at the end, so we can have a mass quiz. That would be absolutely amazing. Until then, ciao for now, and we're going to just bring on the second half of the show. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice one.
Thank you.
So hopefully, either Jack, Jason, or Chelsea, or all of them will stay for later for the quiz to finish, which is all good fun. I'm getting quite warm now, but we are going to get into the second half. And I will say thank you to all the people that have subscribed to the channel. We've got amazing numbers watching tonight, nearly 500 of you watching live. And obviously thousands of you will watch it back. So thank you ever so much for that. But we are going to get stuck into the second half of the show. So my first guest for the second half, it is the man, the myth, the legend. Hi, Suti. How are you? It's after the watershed, so here we are.
Happy days, David.
Happy days. He said to me before the game, before the game, when I say before the game, in the green room, he said, you might even see me smile. Look at his little smiley face. Are you happy, mate?
Very happy, Dave. To watch them implode like they did yesterday, Dave, it's just, well, joyful, Dave.
Absolutely joyful. Well, we're going to get stuck into, there's lots to talk. Loads already saying hi to you already. They do love you coming on, mate. I know you were there yesterday as well, so that's great. We have a returning pundit. We've got young Kashmir that's joining us. Hi, Kashmir. How are you?
Evening, Dave. Yeah, good to be back. And I obviously couldn't help almost chuckle when going on the tram past the Hawthorns to and back from work today. I got to say, it was quite an experience being at the game yesterday. But it's obviously a positive one from the results perspective.
Absolutely, and you were quite far back as well, weren't you?
I was row double X in block AA in the Smethwick end, so had a view right from the top of the away end, and it very much made the goals look even sweeter.
Fantastic. And our final fan and pundit today coming on again, returning, who's very, very popular here on the show now. We've got Lucas. Hi, mate.
Hello, Dave. You okay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. You were watching, I think, with the family yesterday. Were you there, or were you on the? Was it got on the telly?
We watched it on the telly, yeah.
Fantastic, which is great because it's really good when we get the different perspectives, when we've got fans in the ground and we've got people watching it on the TV as well. It's good to get that little different perspective. So just before we get started, if you do want to join in with the chat, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button. Not only will you be able to get your Wolves news and updates, and make sure you do watch the vlogs and the reaction after the game and all of that, the fans' eye view. but you can also join in the chat. And someone, we've got over 450 watching live. So make sure if you're enjoying this, hit the like button because it does let YouTube know that you're enjoying the content. Suti, let's kick off with you, mate. I know you've waited for this day for a very, 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 very long time. And it's fair to say that we talked about being a kid on Christmas Day. You felt like, I bet you when you woke up, yesterday morning, it must have felt taking you back to when you were a kid, waking up on Christmas Day because you were so excited for this game.
Well, to be honest, Dave, I was knackered because I couldn't sleep.
You were that excited you couldn't sleep?
Yeah, I couldn't sleep. So I watched a film the night before, and I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning I went to bed. As you can tell, I've lost my voice as well.
Yeah. You didn't go to bed till 1 o'clock last night?
No, the night before the game. So, I mean, it was just... it's one of them games. They come out the traps, didn't they, Dave? And to be honest, they looked pretty decent, the Albion. They just didn't have any cutting edge, did they? But they were well up for it. Fair play to them. But quality always comes to the top, doesn't it? It always rises to the top. And I just think that we didn't really look in major trouble. They sort of peppered us with a few crosses and a couple of weak headers in the first half. But there was nothing there really, was there? Let's be honest. They're miles behind us, Dave. Absolutely miles. On every single front, Dave. As a club, playing staff, the quality of player, the kit, the ground. We're just better, Dave. We're a better club. Always have been and always will be. The only thing they've got is they've won a few games against us, but they will never be classed as the greatest team in the world like we once were, Dave. They'll never be pioneers of anything. Never. We are a better, far superior club.
Fantastic. Cashmere, your experience of the day yesterday, obviously you go into the away game. What was your build-up like? How was it when kickoff was about to start, and how were you feeling as the game progressed?
Well, yeah, I think woke up about 25 to 7, I think it was, and it was one of those feelings of getting out of bed, mix of feeling, oh my God, this is very exciting, but also having that sense of nerves, thinking, fearing the worst. And I was on one of the club coaches. There was I think it was about 30, somewhere between that many coaches that then left Molyneux, all led front and back by police outriders, which was a first for me, and a bit of a strange feeling. But I've got to say, to and from the ground, we were perfectly fine and nothing unravelled security-wise, which was positive. And then obviously very much the atmosphere, I think, right throughout the game up until the troubles was pretty good by both fans. The usual banter, and Albion did come out the blocks quite well. I thought I think perhaps maybe a little nervy at the start, as was always going to be. But at the end of the day, we as I think as a squad, did a really professional job. And the golfing quality was, I think, illustrated by both the goals. And moral of the story, I think, for clubs up and down the country, particularly, is don't give Pedro Neto too much time on his left foot, because otherwise he can do what he did yesterday and also against Luton back in September. So I think all in all, just a solid performance. We did what we needed to do. It was always going to be a bit of a gritty game, but it was one that I think very much where we all enjoyed and paid dividends on the pitch, and look forward to Brighton in round 5. Well,
yeah, it's another Albion in round 5 actually that you should bring that one. It's like we've got rid of one, we get rid of one monkey off our back in terms of the hoodoo at the Hawthorns and that Albion thing, and let's face it, we've had a terrible run. I think it was 11 games without winning, and in round 5 we've got another hoodoo. It's Brighton and Hove Albion. It's why we can deal with that as well. Why can't we beat them? We've got a home draw we're one step away from the quarterfinals. And I don't see any reason why, this team ain't going to go for the FA Cup this year and give it their all. And I think they want. I really, really believe that they are hungry to try and go all the way in the FA Cup and get to the final this year. I really, really believe it. And if we have a little bit of luck on the way and we put in the performances, there's no reason why we can't. Lucas, on to you on the game. And then obviously, do you think this team is out to, go as far as they can in this cup run this year?
I think we have a strong enough squad to do anything, really. I think we've beaten the European champions. I think we can do anything. I think it is possible that we can win it. But the West Brom fans at my school make me laugh. They're saying we're still 28 years unbeaten, even though in the league, saying,
hold on. You've gone to school today. Yeah. And they're now coming out where we're 28 years unbeaten in the league. Is that literally what they've got to grasp hold of now?
Yeah, they're just saying. But before we played them, they said if we lose, we'll admit you have the bragging rights. But now they're saying we're still unbeaten 28 years in the league.
Mate, it could be 48 years unbeaten in the league for all I know, because I'm not sure if they don't go up this year. And let's face it, that they're fighting for the playoffs, and fair play to them, because they have got a good home record and they're in good position in the playoffs. But if they don't go up this year, I think they could be nosediving all the way down to League One and going through all of that. It could be a very, very long time before they play us in the league. So I can't believe they're coming out with that, man. Did you laugh at that?
Yeah, I just laughed, and loads of Wolves fans were laughing as well.
Can imagine. There's a few people here. Carlos, George, clutching at straws, outrageous. Oh, that is making me laugh. Anyway, carry on, mate. So you've walked into. I bet you've loved going to school this morning, because I bet you've really milked it, right?
Yeah, Monday's my worst days for lessons, but today I've had a massive smile on my face. Every corner I went round, just had a massive smile on my face wearing my Wolves coat. Just seeing all the Albion fans in their little section at school, and I've just looked at them and smiled at every single one of them.
That's great. It is a great feeling, isn't it? And I'll tell you what, there's a load of Wolves fans that have been strutting into work and to workplaces and colleges and schools and colleges around the Black Country and wider region that are going to be, puffing their chests out after that victory. And, and why not? I mean, because we've waited a long, long time, and we've had them fair enough giving us the banter with the 5-1 and all of that sort of stuff over the last few years. And we won well yesterday. We were much I think a few people have said, I don't think we were even anywhere near our best, and we still won the game. Lucas, I mean, you watched it. How did you feel the game went?
I thought the first 30 seconds, I didn't know how to feel. I was excited the whole morning. Then I see the first 30 seconds, and they're having a massive chance. I was like, this is going to go two ways. They keep missing these big chances, and we need to capitalise, or they'll put one of these away and they'll sit back. And they didn't capitalise, and we capitalised with from a corner, Doherty straight to Neto. And Neto just does what Neto is proven to do. And I think that's what we should be trying to work on, attacking from set plays, because we've got Cunha, we'll have Wang, and we've got Pedro. That's loads of pace for a counter attack.
And you've also got Ryan Aitnori. He's got pace as well.
So them players, because on set pieces they only have one or two back. So if we just get them boys up there, it's an easy goal or a big chance.
Absolutely. I mean, good points raised there by Lucas. And mate, we did touch on Matt Doherty's contribution yesterday from that set piece. I mean, some people, were saying he shouldn't even start. I really do like Matt Doherty. Not the fact that he's probably the best player in the squad, but he has a hold head on him and he's quite experienced. And he was very, very, very switched on for that corner. And as much as he sometimes gets, he might lack a little pace, he doesn't lack heart. And that interception that took virtually half the Albion team out, and then the weight of the pass. I mean, and the way he controlled it as well out the air, the awareness. Oh, I think that moment of the game was like a match-winning interception and break.
Yeah.
Suti.
Certain players for certain games, Dave. So that's what I got a funny feeling he won't play against United because he'll get rinsed for pace.
Yeah, I
whereas
can agree with that.
Whereas Nori won't. Right.
Yeah.
Just a quick one going back on the thing I said earlier about them being inferior to us, Dave. I truly believe they are inferior to us, but let's not just forget history here, Dave. They did help save us.
Yeah.
They raised lots of money when we nearly went bust. So it's a bit of banter, boys. Don't take it to heart. Thank you for what you did for us. Players for certain games. Doc was good yesterday. They were all good, Dave. Nobody was outstanding, but they were all good. And when you're all good as a collective, you'll win the game. As I said to you a few times on here, you've only got to have 3 players that don't perform within any team and you'll lose. Any more than that, you will lose. So you can carry a couple who are having an off day. No more than 3, you'll lose the game. Alex Ferguson said that. And he wasn't wrong very often, was he? Doc, anticipation for the corner. I saw the vlog of the lad you were on about who wasn't an Albion supporter, young lad. And he said...
So you got the one with the little tufty?
Yeah. He's got the corner and everything on camera. And he said, God, I'll be limbs here if Albion score here. Well, he was correct with the limbs bit because 10 seconds later, there's gold pyros going, everything. The Wolves' end's gone nuts. And the Albion keep clutching at straw, saying the worst away support they've had all season. Well, they can't even fill the ground for an home game, Dave, with home supporters. So no good criticising us, because I'm telling you now that we performed yesterday in the stands.
That's what makes me laugh, because, you know, they were falling out with each other, doing the pitch invasion, and we're all singing "Let's all have a disco" whilst it's going on. It's like
we performed yesterday. Take it from me, we were loud yesterday. They could say what they want. It's an identical game to Sunderland and Newcastle last round, when Sunderland were all up for it. You know, they were sort of same sort of position as the Albion in the Championship. Newcastle, same sort of position as us.
Yeah.
Fierce local derby, and Newcastle went there, weathered a storm, pounced on a mistake. Really, it's game over then, because we know nobody's going to beat us in the air. We're imperious in the air at the back. Nobody gets past Dawson, Kilman and Totti. Since we've gone to that back 5, we are tight, really, aren't we? Let's be honest. So they weren't going to intimidate us. We were just a unit, really. We defended well. We broke at pace. And it was just a good job done. And we've basically saved a lot of energy for the real work that happens on Thursday.
Yeah.
Nobody's injured. Everybody's had a good run out. Thursday is the one that counts.
As Suti just
this is our big day on Thursday. We must beat Man United.
Well, I've had a very interesting interview today with a top with the United Stand, actually, who've got 1.8 million subscribers. Beth from the United Stand. It's about a 25-minute interview, which will be coming out tomorrow, looking ahead to the game, getting their perspective. And I can tell you, she's not very confident. She basically, one of the things she said is Wolves are our bogey team. Man United see Wolves as being their bogey team. So make sure if you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe and hit the bell, because that will be coming out tomorrow, and it's a really good insight from Beth. She's a great gal. And that's on that's coming out on the channel tomorrow. Lucas, he's disappeared. I think his internet's playing. He'll be back in a minute. Lucas, you're a young lad. I think you're 15. Watching that, you get all the history of the Wolves and stuff like that. You've seen obviously when you were a younger lad coming up into the Championship. The Nuno years, the last 3 years. Where do you think we are as a team now compared to the last 2 or 3 years? What is it that you really like about where we're at under Gary O'Neill and at this point with the team?
I think it's the passion that the players have. I think some games that under Nuno, the players didn't show some good passion, but I think under Gary O'Neill, he's brought passion with the fans and with the players as well. Like Tommy Doyle, when he was getting the ball, chucked it, and he just turns around to the West Brom fans and points at the badge.
That was sheer class. That was from Tommy Doyle. He's literally having bottles chucked at him, and he's turning round, going like this. I mean, he had some bottle to do that. To be fair, and he showed that he wasn't being intimidated, which I was really, really impressed. And as I said, I've mentioned before, Cunha as well. They really seem to be buying into what the club's all about, and it felt like that they'd watched they'd watched a lot of stuff on the Black Country. I mean, someone messaged me actually, friend saying that my video, they said that the video that we did with all the fans had actually been sent to a player and they'd seen it. Which, if that's the case, that's fantastic. We put that little video together and about what the Black Country Derby was, but you can tell that they knew what it was all about and how much it meant to the supporters, didn't they, Lucas?
Yeah, 100%.
Kashmir, you proud of the boys and where we are under now? I mean, from the start of the season to now, is your opinion swayed on your sort of aspiration for the season? Do you believe we can go all the way in the FA Cup?
I definitely think it's a possibility, and it certainly has been a transformation from the moment in which Gary was announced as manager, and obviously the natural scepticism that came around the appointment. But clearly we've got a side now who I think under like Nuno's first couple of years particularly have really got that togetherness and that sense and that realisation of knowing who they're playing for and the badge and the brand of Wolverhampton Wanderers. And it, very much pointed out and illustrated by Cunha, whose finish yesterday, by the way, was absolutely superb. And him just pointing at the badge in the way he did, saying, "We rule the Black Country. This is ours."
I love that.
And it just very much, I think, is shown. And I think looking at the teams left in the FA Cup, yes, it is Brighton, of whom are who can be very tricky, as we've had shown to our cost into the 3 games previous to last week. But absolutely, I think they are very much beatable. And the week after that FA Cup tie, they're in the Europa League. So I suspect Roberto De Zerbi is going to have a few difficult decisions to make in terms of his squad.
Is that fact?
The Europa League last 16. First leg is the following week after the game on the 7th of March. So it's only 8 days later, roughly. And obviously that will mean, I suspect, De Zerbi will probably want to ensure that for that, and knowing, I think, how seriously Brighton are taking Europe, as they've shown in the group stage, and credit to them for the way they've gone about their campaign. I think they'll have, perhaps one or two of their key men will be missing, which could be to our benefit.
Interesting that is, and because obviously we're going to have Premier League games as well around that. I think it's going to be a midweek game as well. And the other thing is, with regards to the 5th round, there's no replays, so whatever happens, it's going to be decided on the night at Molineux. Suti, obviously looking ahead, I know it's something that you're really, really passionate about. You want a pot. You really want us to go at it and win something. Have you been impressed with the way Gary O'Neill's approached the FA Cup this year?
Well, I've been impressed with Gary O'Neill, Dave. But let's be honest, we were all a bit cheesed off when he was appointed. Even you, Dave, the most positive person in the world. I can remember you.
I was shocked, to be honest.
What have we done?
To be fair to me, I did defend him. When people call him out, I said, like, you've got to give the guy chances and stuff like that. And he's changed a lot of people's minds, hasn't he?
Well, even I said to you, quite a sceptical bloke, said to you, we've just got to get behind him and see where this goes. Because, and let's be honest, after Ipswich, you would have thought all this would have happened, Dave. 9 unbeaten at home, unbeaten in the last 6 or 7. And why can't we beat Brighton at home? We are the form home team, Dave. Molineux has become a fortress again. We are not frightened of anybody. I will be bitterly disappointed, Dave, if we don't take that Man United side apart on Thursday, because I think we're better than them.
Do you know what, as well? I was talking to Beth, and you'll see this on the interview tomorrow if you subscribe to the channel. But Beth, that we're talking, they're on -5 goal difference, United. They're 3 points in front of us. If we win that game, we will go above Manchester United.
We've done them there, Dave. We were robbed there.
And you know what? She admits that as well.
We have absolutely tore them a new backside and some, Dave. We were that good, right? How they've got away with that, still to this day, I feel robbed. If we play like that again, we will pump these. They will not want to come to Molineux, Dave. Nobody wants to come to Molineux at the moment. Nobody. We've turned Man City over. Okay, let's be honest. It was an industrious performance that was clinging on for dear life, but it showed some bottle. And it was a turning point.
Yeah.
We've turned Spurs over with a
we
good
deserve
performance.
That. We battered them.
We've turned Chelsea over. How we never beat Forest, I don't know. We've gone through teams at Molineux like they've got a good dose of the shits. Let's be honest. We've gone straight through them. So let's be honest here. We shouldn't be frightened of Man United, but players for games. It's up to Gary O'Neill now to pick the squad to play against United. Like I said to you before, I don't think he'll play the Doc. I don't think the Doc's got enough pace for their wide men. And I think he could get rinsed. The intriguing one's going to be
midfield.
Who's playing in midfield.
Yeah.
Because I think if he'll pick Lamina, he's your midfield general. He's a tank. So he's going to break everything.
I personally do not think you can drop Tommy Doyle. I think he's come into the squad and he's been man of the match virtually every game since. I mean, Joe Gomez is been out the squad. I don't see him coming straight into the in.
Think about it as well, Dave. Tommy Doyle has a family history that runs straight through the veins of Manchester City. He's got family members that have played over the decades for Man City. It's in his blood almost. Now, I love him thumping our motto. Obviously, any fan, supporter, loves a player that grabs the shirt and plays for the shirt. What he did in the corner flag yesterday was pure quality. The only thing he failed to do, Dave, was pick one up and take a swig and hand it back to him, because that's the sort of thing I would have done. But he, for me, is the catalyst as well. Remember Bournemouth away? We were 1-0 down. Tommy Doyle comes on. The game changes, Dave. Completely changes. Flips it on his head. It's always positive with the lad. He would be majorly unlucky if he's dropped against Man United, because I think playing against Man United, I think he can absolutely pummel them, Dave. I think he's better than Man United.
I think you're right, and I think he is going to be an interesting contender for Player of the Year. Actually, the way he's come into the side because we were short, and he wouldn't, and he's grabbed the shirt, and that's what they say. When you get your chance, you've got to take it, and to me, he's take it, and he's also a leader. He's a leader. You seen him yesterday when he was going like this to the fans and stuff like that. And when he came on against Brentford away, he literally, like you said, single-handedly took the game by the scruff of the neck and carried us. And then we had Pedro came on. And the goal that he scored, he's got quality. He can pass the ball. He's got range. I think we did something on the stats. He won 100% of the tackles that he went in for. He's a real talent, and we're going to buy him for £4.3 million or whatever it is in the summer. There's no doubt about it that we're going to trigger that. And this guy, I'm telling you now, he's going to be worth 40, 50, 60 million in 2 or 3 years' time. And okay, City will take off of whatever happens, but he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. We're just going to touch on the crowd trouble, because we need to talk about that and get your perspectives on it. Lucas, first of all, watching it from home, what was your take on it, and how were you feeling when it happened? Were you a bit bewildered?
I was like a bit confused at the start because I was still celebrating Cunha's goal with the family, and I've looked at the TV screen and they're just showing all the police with the West Brom fans. So I thought a Wolves player's gone up there and celebrated, and they're all trying to get on the pitch.
Yeah.
Then I've started watching the TV more and calming down, and then I've seen all the West Brom players go into the stands. I thought the fans got badly hurt, and then I saw Jose and Cunha get pushed away, and then they started saying there's some incident happened in the stands. But then you saw a massive swath of people running across the pitch as well. So I wasn't too sure what was going on. And then I texted you because I wasn't knowing if the fans were told of what was happening in the stadium. So when I found out, I just texted you straight away. And then I just realised what happened. But there's too much to know that what happened. The clubs have said they're looking at CCTV with the police, but too many people are saying too many different things. Like some West Brom fans has also said today, it was Cunha's dad was celebrating in the West Brom end, and then saying apparently somebody was going to chuck some at Doherty when he was celebrating in front of the fans. There's too much.
I'll tell you what, there's no way that Cunha's dad would need to try and get a ticket into the Albion home end. I mean, come on. Yeah. There's plenty of tickets in the Wolves end, and a lot of their families were in there. You know, you saw Semedo's wife posted on Instagram and stuff. They're all in there. I mean, Cunha's dad in the Albion away end, it's pathetically ridiculous. Absolutely. Kashmir, you know, your view on it from where you were. I mean, you know, were you like a bit, you know, what's going on? Because you were quite high up, so you probably had to that side, so you had probably a good aerial view of it.
Yeah, so I was right the last row in the first block, within our fans closest, obviously towards the Albion fans, as to where their block was one of the two bits going two bits of trouble. Obviously it is. I did obviously wonder, but obviously it obviously came quite clear as to where something had gone off, and it obviously how it transpired is just ridiculously disappointing. And as obviously as absolutely everyone else has rightly said, there's no place in football for it, and there should never be. Knowing as to we're meant to be a family game for folks who rise up and down the land, no matter who they support. And seeing the fact that Carl Bartley, the Albion captain, had to basically get his kids out of there is, I think, just a really poor sign on anybody and everybody who was involved. It puts a bit of a stain on otherwise a really decent game, knowing as to with how the fans, I think, behave themselves on the whole. Obviously, as was pointed out earlier, it is a minority of fans. 99.8% of everyone else at Molineux at the Hawthorns yesterday were impeccable from what I could see and observe. Obviously, the chants and everything is the usual banter which we would expect. But it's just such a shame that there's a very small minority who have only one intention, and that was to cause the trouble they did. And hopefully the letter of the law will deal with them accordingly.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate your insight on that. Suti, whereabouts in the Smethwick end were you?
So I was just, you know, where all the police were in the corner where Tommy Doyle had the bottles thrown at him. I was towards that end, Dave, halfway up.
Yeah. And what's your sort of take on it? Because I thought, like I said, many of us have said, and we you know, about it up until Cunha's goal, I thought the atmosphere was fantastic from both sets of fans with the banter and stuff like that. What's your kind of take on what happened?
Look, Dave. Look, I'm not going to say about what I've seen at football and done at football over the years. I've been at Wolves for 47 years. I started going on my own, home and away at 16. Football violence, Dave, has been around since 1880. The first ever instance of football violence was in a game versus Preston against Aston Villa in 1880, where Villa lost 5-0. Rocks, stones, bricks, a player was knocked unconscious, batons, everything was used. This isn't a modern day thing, right? It has been going on for decades upon decades upon decades. You are never going to be any safer inside a football ground than what you are now. This is the safest it's ever been. You will get the odd little pocket of trouble. Take it from me yesterday, Dave. If you go back to the late 80s, early 90s, yesterday, mate, they wouldn't even have stopped the game in the late 80s. It would have carried on. So we've got to get this into perspective. The press have made a lot of this. Albion fans was pushing the police, and one policeman got his helmet knocked off, so he's give the one lad a bat, and you'd have seen him trudge around the ground with blood coming out of him. And
He's
rightly so, you can't do it. But let's go back to just briefly to sort of late 80s, playing Millwall away on a Tuesday night, and you're caged in like animals. We were treated like animals, Dave. I was 17, 18, and you're having snooker balls and darts thrown at you. We don't see any of this anymore, Dave. So let's get it all in perspective. You have got to talk about it, Dave. But if you make this game too sterile, it's gone.
Absolutely. So absolutely. And that's the thing that I think the point is. You want that rivalry, you want the intensity, you want the atmosphere, you want the electricity, you want all the banter, and you want all of the little things that you do around the game, and you want the bragging rights. But in this day and age, you can't be, when there's a lot of young kids that go and, to the games.
Absolutely.
You can't be doing that. Back in the day, when they did this, and I ain't ever been that type, I've never, I'm sort of like always walked away from these sort of things. I've had one fight in my life when I was at primary school, and the guy, I was being bullied and I lost it, and I hit the guy and I knocked him out. I thought I killed him. I don't know where the anger came from when I was very young, and I've never hit anyone ever since. But like back in the day, they used to do it away from the grounds a lot of the time, because they used to have
they still do, Dave. They still do. Look, don't think that 4,011 Wolves supporters went there yesterday. I'm 54 this year, Dave. I'm an old man. I don't want anything to do with that now. I'll go to watch the game. I want to take my lad who's 15. He's seen it. Do not think there is no violence at football matches. There would have been at least 400 hardened Wolves lads there yesterday that would have been right up to have a bit of bother. Now, every single one of these people will be known to the police. Every club has got an assigned hooligan watch police officer or multiple police officers. They know their whereabouts, what they're doing, how they get to and from games every single week. They will be watched from the time they come out their house virtually to the time they go back home. They know what they're doing. They'll be followed on trains. They won't go on club buses, a lot of them, because that's just too easy to get picked up. So they're clever, these lads. They're clever. So they know what they're doing to not get caught. Now, it'll always be there, but the run-of-the-mill fan that goes in a Wolves shirt, Dave, and a Wolves scarf will never see any of it. They'll get no trouble whatsoever. You won't. I promise you now. It has never been safer. But you have to be careful. I mean, I stood there yesterday laughing at it, Dave, because it was handbags at first dawn to me. It was just like, this is funny. This is funny because if those police had moved away from that corner flag where all them Albion lads was coming, I guarantee you now, Dave, they wouldn't have encroached the pitch.
You reckon
it's like
not?
an invisible lot. No, it's the only time those two sets of supporters are going to have a go at each other, Dave, is outside that ground. You are the safest people inside that ground. CCTV camera. Every single police officer's got one on his lapel. They've got us all, Dave. You will be on a camera somewhere, Dave.
I was holding a bag.
Well, you cannot get away with anything inside the ground. Anyone that encroached that pitch yesterday will be getting a lifetime ban from West Bromwich Albion. West Bromwich Albion are going to get the biggest fine dished out for decades, Dave.
Absolutely. And they might even get a stadium ban as well.
Well, I don't think they'll get that because they're in a very precarious position at the moment where every penny counts. The owner that they don't like will have been sat there yesterday with his head in his hands thinking, I can't, what is happening here? I can't afford this. They're in big trouble. If they don't come up, Dave, financially, they're pretty much screwed, mate. So, but don't think by these young lads that go to football, these two young lads have got decades and decades in front of them. I'm at the beginning of the runway here, Dave. I'm 54. I hope I've got a few years left. I've seen far more than I hope they'll ever see to do with this sort of thing. But it's safer now. And I encourage everybody, if you want to take your kids, don't use that as a barometer because it's so rare.
Well, exactly. And I think that's the reason why it's made so much headlines, because it's a very big rarity. And you're right, the press are going to pick up on it. Everyone's going to pick on it because you don't see it anymore. And I think it shocked a lot of us yesterday in the ground that actually happened. And at the end of the day, there's an investigation going on by the police. You're right. Every single one of them will be catched on camera and they'll probably get a ban. There'll be an investigation on how the tickets are got. The FA are looking into it. There'll be fines that'll be coming down Albion's way. The Wolves fans in the stadium yesterday that were in the prop where they should be were fantastic. We were just like bemused. Let's all have a disco singing to them. Not one Wolves fan from the
we took the piss out of them, Dave. We took the piss out of them. We've laughed at him. Look at him. I mean, the lad that's walked around that looks like a cartoon character covered in blood. He's got so many pelters walking around. I mean, what an absolute dickhead. He's lost his season ticket. He'll never get in any football ground in the country again. What? Well, what time is it now? It's got to be 10 o'clock. What a prick, Dave. He is never getting in there again. Never. If that's his one passion, he won't get in there again. The same as the people that sold the tickets. If you're a club, if Wolves say to us against Brighton, all you season ticket holders, you can have an extra ticket each and do what you want with it because we want this place full. They've asked for trouble, Dave.
Yeah.
I've been in away ends, Dave. I've been in a lot of away ends. And if you're saying there's an etiquette at football, take it from me. When you're in the away end, there's an even greater etiquette. Because unless you want your head filled in, then you've got to behave. You know, they don't mind so much, Dave. If you sit there and, you say nothing, even when you score, when they score, if you just stand up, that nobody's going to give you any grief. But they've brought this all on themselves. It's no good saying, okay, this Wolves lad stood up and he's cheered. He's done the wrong thing. An Albion supporter sold him that, Dave. Yeah. I ain't sold it him. You've not sold it him. One of their own sold him that. There'll be loads of them. And let's not be fooled here, Dave. There's a lot of our lot do this at home as well.
I was saying earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if there's Man United fans sitting in the
There'll be hundreds, Dave. Manchester United are the most followed football club probably in the world. There will be hundreds, and there'll be people at Wolves who will say, yeah, I'll sell you my ticket for 200 quid. They will do it. That's how it works, Dave. But you've got to have your wits about you if you do it. You can't go jumping up and down because you're going to get your head filled in.
Absolutely, and like you said, it wasn't for the Albion fans to take it under themselves to drag him out. The stewards and the police would. That's their job.
I've seen people saying, "Oh, what if we get a fine?" Wolves will not get a fine of any description. That lad will get banned from football grounds who was in there the other day. If he's not already banned, he could already have a ban.
And right,
he could be under John Smith's name for as an Albion supporter, but he will never get in the ground again. That's fact, right? Wolves will not suffer any consequences to do this. Not one Wolves fan encroached that football pitch the other day. Not one. We even had an appearance of Jimmy Savile, for God's sake. So, you know what I mean? Nobody encroached the pitch from the Smethwick end. Wolves were impeccable. And let's be honest, Dave, we've took the piss out of them big time.
100%. I think that rounds it up quite nicely, Suti. Thanks ever so much for that. As always, Suti will always say it how it is, and that's why we love him. Lucas, we're going to go back onto you now. Hopefully you've managed to sort out your sound issue. That seems to be sorted. Thank you very much. Lucas, we're going to do, and then we're going to get onto the quiz because we've got Jason backstage as well. We're going to go with performance rating, man of the match, highlight of the day, and your prediction for Manchester United.
I think match rated 10. Man of the match, I'll give it to Kilman. I think he's proven in the big game he can be a good leader. And highlight of the day, when we scored, messaging all the West Brom fans. And the United prediction saying 2-1 Wolves.
2-1. Cash, over to you. Highlight of the day can be anything. It can be eating a Balti pie if you want it to be, but there you go.
But I think as it's West Brom and as everybody has said, it's got to be a 10. I think our performance probably warrants an 8. But still, we did the job that we needed to do on the pitch. Man of the match, like Lucas, Max Kilman, absolutely imperious at the back. Very much, I think, really beginning to come to his own as captain, and say some of the blocks and some of the blocks he made yesterday were just terrific. And obviously, the fact that his assist was the outside of his boot made it, I think, just even sweeter to play in Cunha. I think highlight of the day, probably Cunha's celebration. Actually, it just signifies just how much he loves playing in the Wolves shirt, how much he's thriving in a Wolves shirt, and the connection he's got with us. I was obviously his 8th goal of the season yesterday. He's only 2 off his seasonal record as well, by the way, of 10 when he was at Sion in 2017-18. So I suspect he will breach that and then some this season, which would be fantastic. And then prediction for Thursday, we're in great form at home. We haven't lost in 3.5 months at Molineux. I think that, as well as then United's shakiness, I think will give us a 2-1 win.
Love it. Suti?
I want to give it Kilman for the tackle.
Great tackle.
Still hear it now. It rings round the Hawthorns, doesn't it? Yeah. Fantastic tackle. And I do believe they probably have scored if he hadn't put that tackle in, Dave. I'm going to give it a 10. It wasn't a 10 performance, but because of what happened, it's definitely a 10. If you beat your biggest rivals, it's a 10, especially away. And you teach them some manners and how to hold themselves within the game. As a whole, I think as a club, we were a 10. Moment of the day, Dave. No one's picked up on this yet, but no VAR.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great point. Great point.
Fantastic. Game flowed. Referee made decisions. Linesmen put their flags up. Not one person complained about any decision. Amazing.
That's a really, really good one. I like that. Yeah, it was
in a
great.
Game like that as well, Dave.
And to celebrate and not have to worry about whether it's going to be checked.
Nobody complained about any decision, Dave. Not one person. I've watched all the vlogs today, Albion and Wolves.
You did the same as well, which is
No, nobody's complained. There was a bit of a question mark about whether Cunha was
I
offside.
saw on one of them. It was that dad and the lad that were talking, but he was definitely offside.
In reality, when it was given, no one moaned. Nobody, not one person. So that was my moment of the day.
And your score prediction?
3-0.
Oh, that's confident. Right, guys, we are going to go on the quiz. We have got Jason that is going to be coming back to try and get the spoils again. I do want to say again a big thank you to Creation Wolf for powering the show. Those of you that are first-time viewers, this is the penalty shootout quiz where I ask 3 questions, and I'm going to try and get one that's fair for all. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Right. So, Kashmir, as it's your first one, we have 3 penalties. This is a penalty shootout, right? Quiz. Kashmir, as it's your first one doing this, you've got the option to go first, second, third, or fourth in the penalty shootout.
I'll go second.
You're going to go second. Jason, as he's not been here for a while, we're going to give you the opportunity to pick first, third, or fourth.
I'll go first, Dave, because I've just noticed I'm on 1% battery.
Right, so you're going first. Make sure you plug that in then, mate. Lucas, I'll give you the opportunity of going third or fourth.
I'll go third.
So, Suti, you're coming up last, the last to take the spot kick. So, here we go. So, this is to Jason. Jason, where was John Richards born? Was it Brighton, Newcastle, Warrington, or Wolverhampton?
Warrington.
Whoa, no messing. He just one stride, puts it in the corner. It's in. Right, Kashmir, what was John Richards' nickname? Was it Greedy John, King John, Crazy John, or Bomber John?
King John?
Nicely put away. You give the keeper the eyes and put it the opposite way. Right, Lucas. John Richards played for 14 years, made 485 appearances and scored a club record number of goals. But how many goals did he score for the club? Was it 194? 200? This is an unlucky question, by the way. 194, 204, 254, or 255? He places the ball down. He steps away.
I'm going to have to go with the third one.
So you're going with 254 goals?
Yeah.
Mate, as you've ran up, the grass has given way. And you've slipped, and you've basically kicked the ball, and it's not reached the edge of the 6-yard area. Unfortunately, it was 194. It's a terrible penalty, and Jason seems to have disappeared. Hopefully, he'll be back shortly. Right, Suti. Whose goal scoring record did John Richards beat? Was it Johnny Hancock's, Peter Broadbent, Derek Dugan, or Billy Harthill?
I would have to go for the Duke. I don't think it's right there.
You're going for the Duke. It's a good effort, but you've hit the post. You've hit the post. And our penalty taker has disappeared. So I'm going to send this to step in to Josh. Josh, if you're watching, I'm sending you the link to come on until Jason can get back on, so you can step in as substitute for Jason. I'm sending Josh the link now. So, Josh, if you're there, can you come on and step in for Jason? So, so far, we've got Jason's team with 1. We've got Kashmir with 1. Lucas has missed. badly. And Suti, you've got what you've hit the post, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So literally, Josh is just joining us in replacement for Jason until he comes back. So the answer, yes. Sorry, what was the answer? It was Billy Hartill. Sorry about that, Ray. Right, Josh. So you're stepping into the breach as an emergency substitution. It's a concussion sub for Jason.
Let's hope I do a good job then, because this could completely go pear shaped now, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, right, Josh, for Team Jason, who broke John Richards' goal scoring record? Was it Kelly Miller, Kenny Ibbott, Andy Much, or Steve Bull? And you basically side on, mate, for some reason.
Well,
God.
There you go. Cashmere's joining in with a trick as well. Can you pivot it on its side?
what was the question again? So,
Yeah, who broke John Richards' goal scoring record? Was it Kenny Miller, Kenny Ibbott, Andy Much, or Steve Bull?
it's got to be Steve Bull, isn't it?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. This is going to go pear shaped, isn't it?
No, it's a really good penalty, mate. Coming off the bench, and you've literally remained the keeper. The keeper's dived and you've dinked it down the middle. It's a good one. Right then, Cash, you're 1 out of 1. Jason and Josh are 2 out of 2. You've got this next penalty. John Richards scored his first goal for Wolves in a home game, which Wolves won 3-1 in September 1970. Who was the opposition that day? Was it Huddersfield Town, Ipswich Town, Everton, or Portsmouth?
Oh, goodness. Complete guess. I'll go with Huddersfield.
Well, that's a bloody good guess, because literally you've done a roll, you've stuttered up, the keeper's gone, and you've literally rolled it in the opposite corner. That's nonchalant is what it is. 2 out of 2. Right, Lucas, the pressure is on. You need to score this really to keep in the in the chance. How many times did John Richards win the first division with Wolves? Was it none, 1, 2, or 3?
I'm
How
going
many
to
times
go
did John Pardon?
2 times.
Right, you have actually reached the goal this time, but the keepers, you've just hit it. You've done a Rabona, and the keeper's not taken it, and he's literally just stopped and just catched it like this as you've done it. It is actually 0, none. Didn't win any. Suti quite rightly said there. So you're 0 out of 2 at the moment. So the next question is to Suti. You need to get this right as well.
It's not his inside leg measurement or something, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. You should get this one, to be fair. How many times did John Richards win the League Cup with Wolves? Was it none, 1, 2, or 3?
So,
absolutely top bin. It's 2. Absolutely top bin. It's 2. So that's 1 out of 2. So you're still in. You're still in this. So Jason and Josh, the next one is to you. How many times did John Richards play for England, Josh, Jason? Was it none, 1, 2, or 21 times?
As that's the curveball, I'm going to go 21.
You're going for 21 times?
Yeah.
Mate, you've hit it over the roof.
No,
it was one time. I mean, I'm not sure what happened with that bit of grass, but you slipped and it's gone way over the roof. It's actually it's one time. So Kashmir, I'm not. This is crazy, but your debut, you're on for a complete. If you get this, you're guaranteed to win the penalty shootout. So, Which Portuguese team did John Richards play for after leaving Wolves in '83? Was it Porto, Benfica, Maritimo, or Estoril?
Oh wow. That's a proper curveball, I feel like. I'll go Porto.
Porto.
Mm.
The keeper the eyes, and he ain't bought it, mate. He's knows you're going the opposite way, and he saved it. So when the pressure was on, it's saved. Lucas, your last one. I'm going to have to start a new round here. Here we go. This one is Who Am I?
Oh,
I once played a game for Wolves, Lucas, wearing a Superman outfit. Was it Mark Kendall, John Burridge, Keith Downing, or Mike Stowell? Famous goalkeeper. It is a bit before your time, to be fair.
I have to go in mixed out.
It's a good effort. To be fair, you've hit a really, really good penalty this time, but the keeper's dived and tipped it over the bar. So you're out, but you can be judge. You can be ref with me. Right, Suti, you need to get this right to take it to sudden death with Josh, Jason, and Cash. And it is Who Am I? In the 1988-99 season, I was the only one to play all 52 of Wolves League and Cup games. Was I Mike Stowell, Simon Osborne, Keith Cowell, or Dean Richards?
What year was it, Dave?
98-99 season. Played in he was the only player to play in all 52 Wolves League games. Mike Stowell, Simon Osborne, Keith Girl, or Dean Richards?
I want to go for Keith Curl.
Keith Curl, mate, you've put it round the post. It was the keeper, Mike Stowell. Mike Stowell. So Suti is eliminated, and we have. You've done good, Josh, stepping in for Jason. It's Josh, Jason, or Jason, Josh, the JJ. We'll call you JJ.
Double J.
Cash in his debut. Right. So, Josh, you're first up. I was one of Wolves' longest-serving goalkeepers, and my nickname was the Cat. Was I Carla
Bert
Keeney,
Williams,
Phil Parks, Bert Williams, or Paul Bradshaw? It is. That is what you call... did you see that goal that the Sheffield Wednesday keeper hit back in the day against
Kevin Pressman?
It was one of them, mate. It was the Thunderbolt. That's like John Smith's of penalties. That is.
That's why.
Bert Williams. Kashmir, the pressure is on. A pass following you awaits. You're in front of the South Bank. You need to score this to continue the penalty shootout. George Best stated in his autobiography that I was the player he most admired. Was it Peter Knowles, Jimmy Murray, Ron Flowers, or Peter Broadbent?
Again, total stab in the dark there, and I'm several generations behind. But I'll go with Ron.
You're going with Ron Flowers. Suti's shaking his head. Do you know the answer?
Peter Broadbent.
Peter Broadbent. So, Kashmir, it is an honourable first edition. I hope you've enjoyed it. Josh, JJ, Jason, Josh, whatever. Jason, you've come in as super. You are literally the super sub that you've come in last one. And before you go, do you want to do a score prediction for Man U?
2-1 Wolves.
2-1 for Wolves. Guys, we're literally just coming up to 2 hours. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been great fun. We've chewed the fat on so many things. Thanks to all my guests. Thanks for all of you guys in the chat that's joined in. If you've just subscribed, there's quite a few of you that subscribed for the first time tonight. Thank you ever so much. And obviously, there'll be a load of you that'll watch it back on catch up on YouTube, and then it'll be out. Emma, our producer, will be putting it out on all podcast providers in the morning. Thank you for joining us. You know, the Black Country is ours. The Black Country is ours, and the cup run and the cup dream is still on, and so's the top half finish, and even Suti. What else is still on?
Europe
is still on as well. So let's hope we do beat the Red Devils thing in. And there will be a video coming out tomorrow with Beth from the United stand, and of course all the preview coming up. And if you haven't seen my match vlog from the Baggies, make sure you watch. Did you watch that, Suti? Did you watch it back?
Very good.
Thank you very much. Right. Good night. God bless from all of us. Until the next one, always Wolves. And thanks to Creation Wolf again for powering the show. Always Wolves, everyone.
Well done, everyone.